Superman Birthright is the origin story that is so good and so in the moment that James Gunn himself used many elements of this story for the Superman film that everybody is raving about and one of the films of the summer. But way before there was an idea of a shared universe in the film space, in the comic space, Mark Waid and Leinil Francis Yu were crafting what would become the definitive origin of the Man of Steel. And today, we are here to talk about it. Joining me, as always, are my pals, Marco
Celsius.
and Tyler.
A Celsius. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't feel right. No, I tried it. I'm gonna actually. What if I keep saying it, so it makes Marco not want to say it?
Try. Go for it. Give it a try.
Damn it.
Give it a try.
Damn, he's calling my bluff.
And I'm Sean. Thank you for being here, whether you are live or in the future. Really, really appreciate you guys coming to hang out with us to talk about this monumental comic book. How many people here, chat, panel, have read this before?
I have not. Nor did I hear about it before this book club.
Certainly felt like I did, but no, this is my first time. It was interesting reading another Superman origin, but yes, this was my first time.
Also, my first time, I think maybe my first time also using a compact comic for the book club.
Wow.
Same. I read most of mine on Friday on the last Metro North back up out of Manhattan, just full of drunks.
Brutal.
Great. No, it was actually the best way to read it. It was like a half-hour delay too, so I was having a good time.
Oh, nice. Occupied your time.
Very nice.
Perfect tote bag book. I got to give Compact its due. It's perfect for tote bags.
Near says this is his first time checking it out. Roger Hernandez is his first time as well. Glad to hear it. Glad that you guys took the opportunity to use our book club to read this for the first time and take the journey with us. This is the first time we've done a book club where the entire panel is coming into the book for the first time, I'm pretty sure. So that's also a very interesting factor that will play into our conversation. So, Superman Birthright is 12 issues, as you'll know if you read it. It came out between September 2003 and September of 2004, which means they didn't miss a beat. They hit their mark every month. You love to see it. Go ahead.
I was gonna say that's the thing people do on superstar creative teams. They don't take months breaks in between.
Same creative team all throughout, by the way, too. So, Mark
Wow.
Waid, the writer of this, with art from Leinil Francis Yu, inks by the legendary, gone too soon, Jerry Alanguilan. We lost him a few years ago, unfortunately, but he was Leinil's inker always. They always worked together.
I know him
And
from Yu's time on like the Bendis era stuff,
yes,
like Secret
yeah,
Invasion specifically, right?
absolutely,
Yeah.
yeah. So great creative team. Mark Waid has talked about how when it came time to find the artist for this book, that he thought about Leinil pretty early on in the process, which is interesting because I think if you know Leinil's work before, um, he's not the artist you think of when you think of Superman. Part of that is because prior to this, he had never drawn Superman. So no one had a frame of reference for what he would do, but also because his style doesn't really like even if you look at this cover, this is a great cover, but like this is a different Superman than what you're used to getting.
Even after reading it, I'm not sure it worked. Like,
So there you go.
it was a different feel from what I'm used to, especially since I have so much Dan Morris Superman pumped into my veins in the year 2025.
Sure.
Interesting.
Marco, it looked like you had a reaction to what Tyler said there.
Uh, well, I guess we'll get into it. It worked for me. I definitely agree that it was not typical in how I'm expecting it. But I think he's able to hit these consistent beats that uh, represent differences between like Clark Kent and Superman himself. And for me, the faces I think were evocative.
Yeah, and the reason why Mark Waid chose Leinil Yu is because he wanted an artist who people were unfamiliar with when it came to Superman because so many of the artists that DC was pitching him were people who had drawn Superman before. And he wasn't interested in that. This is a modern origin. Let's get an artist who can do something new and different. And that's how the creative team came to be. Um, it's funny because Mark Waid talked about how in the pitch for this book, he had to essentially pitch it in such a way that would appeal to the sensibilities of both of DC's head honchos at that point, which in 2003 and before that would have been Dan Didio and Paul Levitz, who have radically different opinions on what should happen in a comic. Dan Didio likes the idea of the modernization aspects, but Paul Levitz likes the stuff that leans more into what's historical about the character. And so he had to kind of walk a tightrope with that. And I think that comes across in the book.
For sure. It's definitely like a modern, I don't want to say grittier. It's not gritty, but it's a more modern, dirtier take on Superman. Right off the bat, too, the way it starts, being in I don't know what country it's in, but it is in Africa.
Yeah.
And it's early Clark before he even makes it to Metropolis. And I thought that was actually some of the more compelling parts of the book for me, because that was like stuff that I haven't. It felt really modern, even though this is 2020, 2003. So I can see that being a thing. But then also like the Lex being his childhood friend, that's like probably very Paul Levitz. That's old school DC stuff.
Hmm. I think also you're right that we don't get to see too much of Clark before Metropolis and immediately after his time on the farm, and so I think that to me felt like an a modern take in that let's fill in the gaps there. We've seen what's come before, we've seen what comes after. Now let's kind of provide a connecting bridge to those eras.
Yeah, it's not year one; it's like year zero.
Mm.
Which I think made a lot of sense as a place to start. One of the problems with Superman origin stories, which of course, you have your high highs like Man of Steel, but think about all the origin stories for Superman that have been told over the years that aren't even necessarily touted as being, the definitive story or a must read. Tons of creators have told the origin of Superman. And most of the time when they do that, stuff like why Superman has the costume that he has, or why he has the job that he has, are just things that are a part of Superman. So they must be. Mark Waid and Lanil took time to establish the why behind these things that are so important to the Superman mythos. Like, well, why does he want to be a journalist? It's not just a cover up. There's got to be an internal motivation behind that, and it's here in the DNA of this book from the word go.
He's inspired by humanity, and
Mm.
that's what sets the wheels in motion for him to become Superman. Because this would be a modern retelling, so Superboy wouldn't have been a thing. Um, he would have went straight from Clark to Superman. Um, so I guess Legion's out of the question here. So it really is a jump from like just based on what humanity was able to inspire in him. And I forgot the character's name. Like the rebellion leader in Africa.
Right.
Being this small guy of a small section, like a small tribe of an African city, I believe, and how their tribe is being persecuted by the bigger tribe, and he's a peaceful protester. And then it's also an inciting incident because spoiler, it doesn't work out for him, and it's Clark isn't able to save him, and I think that really showcased what Superman could do if he would just reveal himself, and what really kind of gets the ball rolling on that, which I thought was super compelling. That was my favorite parts of the book, that and the Krypton of it all. But yeah,
Interesting. That intro felt the slowest to me because it's not what I expected to get into. I expected immediately like the superheroics of it. This felt a lot more on the ground. He wasn't yet wearing the suit, and so the I think it was good framing for uh to wait to be able to put into perspective that he is somebody who it doesn't matter where, he's of the people for the people, he's on the ground there. But as an opening, I really thought it was going to drag because that wasn't as engaging to me. It didn't feel like a political thriller. It didn't feel like uh, as action packed quite yet. And then, granted, there was action there, but I wasn't enthralled until we got to see the younger aspects of him, and that got to get fleshed out.
Yeah, the interesting part about the opening of this, the opening, arc, I guess, for me was that I didn't see it coming at all. This is not something that I have ever heard as a part of his past. So I was very interested in that part of the story. And like Marco, I thought, I don't know if I care. I really want to see him just get to Metropolis and be Superman. But in doing the reading, I actually found it to be pretty compelling, and it feels nowadays like this was written in 2003, but nowadays this feels like it has to be a part of Superman's history.
Mm.
Because in order for Superman to feel like a global hero, there has to be a global initiative on his part to want to save people, not just people who live in Kansas or Metropolis, people who live in Africa and Germany and everywhere else. So, this idea of him having had this moment to me is almost as important as where he landed on Earth.
It almost reminds me of the Jarheim part of the movie. You know,
100%.
like globalizing, and I definitely see where bits and pieces of this were also in the Superman movie that way that Gunn kind of did.
Guaranteed.
Yeah.
I guarantee you that this initial conflict was the inspiration for that.
And to be fair, in terms of the global image, these kind of conflicts were really big in the global eye in the early part of the 2000s as well. So I can
And you
see
know
that
what?
lens being changed for the movie, but it's still the same lens,
I'm not, as globally minded as I would like to be, but I know a little bit about Africa right now, and they're going through this shit right now.
Yeah.
Bad.
Yeah, real bad.
So you read this and you know it came out in 2003. Don't think for 1 second things have changed and that they wouldn't love for Superman to come flying by.
Mm.
And that's something that I think is so enduring and important about Superman as a character and why we have to see him on missions in other countries is that he's not the only superhero, but he's one of the few who can be anywhere and solve anything. And there would be people who would say, "Oh my God, there is nothing else that can help us right now except Superman." It's the same way people pray to Jesus or whatever God they have in a moment of crisis, except this guy can come to your door. He can pop up
In the
in
blink
the
of an eye.
comics. Yeah, exactly.
Yep. He'll be there. And
Yep.
that's the hero that you need, and that's the hero that he becomes in Metropolis. So yeah, to that point, it lays that foundation, that expectation for what comes through in the book, especially in subsequent chapters.
100%.
But I think it also like just helps in the fact that like Superman's world is in its inception kind of white, you know? So it just kind of helps expand that as to not just being a really white focused book. Even like the main characters are, because they kind of have to be because of the way the story is, but at least adding a more global and a more world outside your window feel to it. Even as soon as he gets to Metropolis too, he meets like the taxi driver, not a white dude. And it kind of adds like the uh, uh, a more of a personal feel to the book.
I like that taxi driver, eloquent as fuck.
Yeah, yeah, great tour guide.
Yeah, definitely a conscious choice to not make him a stereotype.
Yeah, and again, this is about modernization. So all of those factors are playing into Wade's decisions. Like Wade is a very progressive person. His politics are progressive, his mindset is progressive. So when he sits down to modernize something, the first thing he's going to do is add some color in there and make the women in the book feel like they have more agency. Lois has a ton of agency in this book, and obviously that's a part of Lois's character in general. But the degree to which you see that at play depends wildly on the creative team. The other thing that he really did a great job with when it comes to the modernization is in Martha and Laura, because Martha in this is a younger, sort of hipper woman who has more to offer Clark from a motivation standpoint. She's more a part of his initial journey. And Laura has confidence in sending Clark away, whereas Jor-El doesn't. So she's the reassuring figure in that sequence. So I just love those subtle modern touches that Mark added.
Interesting. I took that as he is the separating them, Laura, right, and Martha. Martha is the supportive end, but she has that much more agency where she's like an intelligent participant because she's corresponding over email. You know, she's your father doesn't know this technology and whatnot, but I'm here to answer as many questions that I can. Probe you and challenge you and try to get you to feel. And there's that sequence where it's Clark and Martha talking in the bedroom, and she gives him the space to just be like, I don't understand what's going on with Pa. Like, I don't understand this, what this is. And I think in contrast, maybe not in contrast, but I think what Laura served in that was to provide faith. And that's the kind of faith that Superman has in humanity and other people, because you're right that Jor isn't confident in the potential, but Laura's the one that's able to help him let go. In the same way that Martha's the one that helps him let go of the weight that he has, the guilt that he might have, and enables him to confront those things.
1000%.
The the conflict that in that third issue with Pa, where he's just like a blocker to the progress, he can't express himself. I thought that was really compelling. That's where the book kicked off for me. Is all of a sudden I'm getting this amazing character work between a son, his father, and his mother, and they're trying to resolve a small point of tension that has been bubbling up because now Pa feels like he can't contribute in the same way. He can't allow himself to let his kid get too far. I thought that was really interesting.
I was a little conflicted on that conflict. I was conflicted on the conflict. Um, it felt out of character for Pa, but it also was human.
Hmm.
It is the parents not really knowing what to do once the kids are flying the coop. Um, but Pa Kent and like Pa and Ma kind of my eyes have been so not perfect, but kind of perfect. In terms of media that in the times I've read them, where they're like the most American family possible and the best parents that they could possibly be. So seeing Pa kind of be, I don't know a better way to put it, he was kind of being a dick at some points. And he couldn't help himself. I liked it and I didn't like it at the same time. So I guess that maybe if I didn't like it, that makes it compelling, which then makes me like it. You know what I mean? Yeah, it was different for me. It was a different spin on that dynamic that I don't think I've seen to this day. And I will not be talking about BVS or Man of Steel comments. We're gonna stop talking about that. But
I had this same reaction, uh, but it made me uncomfortable because it felt real. And that's a good thing.
yeah, that's where I felt.
It's just that I didn't expect it, and I was refreshed by that. Like at first I was like, what is happening here? But then I was like, no, that's yeah, a father could absolutely react like that and just have a moment of imperfection, if you will. And they resolve it. And it's not this massive thing that Mark Wade tries to like drag, so to speak. They resolve it like a family should.
And immediately, right? One for the story, but then two for the moment. You're supposed to resolve those things quickly, right then and there. And I particularly love the moment where he's explaining. He's like, who taught me all these things? Who taught me to be this thing? Who taught me to be the man that I am? Dude, I started choking up. I was on the train, being like, damn, all right, okay, this guy gets it.
I couldn't choke up on the train. I was too busy listening to a drunk couple fight next to me. So
I want to take a quick second to address a comment from MJ Looney, who says, "Hey pals, I wanted to send a super chat, but it doesn't allow me to. It just says unable to send. Anyone else had this issue? That's very disconcerting. I don't know why that's happening. It could be an issue with your card. Like that's the only thing I can think
yeah,
of.
because that goes straight through YouTube. So that's not even regarding us on our end either.
Yeah,
Unless
yeah. I wish.
everyone wants to send in super chats, feel free, just to
We
test
gotta
it
test
out.
it.
I'm
We gotta
not
test
Yeah,
it
gonna.
out.
test it out. Let's make sure to help MJ Looney test out to make sure our super chats are working. We're not going to turn that down. Thank you so much. And by the way, since we're saying thank you to the Patreon members who picked this. This book was chosen by our patrons, and we're going to talk to you a little bit later about uh the next month and the options there and what that book club and what the month are going to be about. If you're a listener of this show, you should already know exactly what it's going to be about. But we'll talk more about that later on. Thank you so much to all our patrons for making this possible. Hayden's Hideout understood the assignment, dropped $2 on us to say heyo, which shows us that our super chats are indeed working. Thank you, Hayden, for engaging in our experiment.
Wait, Sean. He said what? Heyo!
Heyo!
Do you guys have a bit without me? What the fuck?
I thought
Howard
you were
Stern.
gonna.
Oh, okay. All right.
I thought you knew that one, dude.
Yeah, I'm just a little slow today. Okay, it's been a long day.
All right, so let's keep things on the Superman Birthright train. I was actually surprised that the revolutionary peace guy in Africa, Kobe, I was surprised that he died. But it was an inciting incident, or not an inciting incident so much as a moment that inspired Superman to want to not allow this kind of thing to happen again, to want to be there in these moments and be able to align himself with the side of good. And there really isn't a moment like that that I can think of in Superman's mythos. Like, Ma and Pa are alive. There's no one in his family who's suffered a tremendous tragedy or anything like that. He's just so inherently good that he just wants to do good and that's it. I like the fact that there's something here that takes him beyond the pale and wanting to be the Superman that he becomes.
I think it's a bit of imperfection. Like I think it, not that it humbles him, but it keeps him grounded. That he can't be everywhere all at once, or at the very least that there are going to be situations where a there will be a tough concession or something difficult will happen. So I saw it coming, but I thought it'd be like, oh, he missed, and
Mm.
you got there just in time and pushed him out of the way, but it nicked him. But I think yeah, it makes him realize something he probably already knows is that the life is fragile in that way, and it has to be protected.
Yeah, I think it had to happen. There has to be. It can't be perfect immediately. There needs, and I think for Superman specifically too, he can't be perfect immediately because then he's perfect, which is why a lot of people can't connect with him. I feel. So I don't want to call a man's death humbling Superman, but it does. It does. And it also will make him better going forward. And it forces him to find a way to be better as well.
I'll say this now. Like, I think this is a great story. I did not absolutely love it, but I wish I had read this a long time ago
Hmm. What you mean?
because it does things that I needed to see in order to fall more deeply for Superman and understand who this character is that for some reason a lot of books just haven't done. Like, point to me the New 52 story that that gets Superman across this well. Again, it took till Philip Kennedy Johnson for me to really feel it. But this was written in 2003. I could have been on this train.
And like the Superman after New 52 when I started reading Superman was like Morrison's where there's a fifth dimension demon, you know? It's not this. And I think I'm the same way as you, Sean. Like I know Superman's origin from a modern lens, but it's only through having to read it constantly and other things. Like we read Man of Steel, Burns' Man of Steel, which was an origin as well. Um, but this feels a lot more akin to what I've seen in movies and animation, because I never really read it in the comics.
I think it's about the superheroics in those other books and less so about the heart. And I think that's where, to your point, Sean, I felt the same way. I wish I knew about Clark's heart in this way, about his mission to humanity, not just because he's Superman, he has to protect people, et cetera, but rather, oh, he cares about these people, and here are the reasons why he cares about these people.
Yep, exactly. You guys understood the assignment, and I am so appreciative that this is the audience that we have. I got to tell you. So, Lucas Hallner, uh, VI Pal channel member for 8 months, says, loved this book, first time reading. Heard you guys talking about a Kirkman book club. I vote Oblivion Song. Well, first of all, Lucas, thank you for all your support. You are one of the MVPs. I appreciate you, brother. And Kirkman Book Club sounds like a great idea. We will be talking about that more some other time. Uncanny Suit with the 4.99. Man, I love Birthright. Didn't watch Smallville as a kid, but I assumed that the Lex Clark stuff would sell this on new readers who did like that show. Fun fact: the Lex Clark relationship, which we're just about to talk about in the book, was not inspired by Smallville. It was inspired by what Tyler referenced earlier, which is 70s Superman comics, in which that was the canon of the time. What they did take from Smallville for this book was the depiction of Ma and Pa Kent as slightly younger, more like modern hip parents.
Not quite as modern and hip and thick looking as what was it, Javier no, it was Dan Mora in the most recent issue of Superman 20 with the Dark Legion.
I don't remember his depiction of Martha,
Oh, okay. Well, all right.
but
Just me.
I
Maybe, different taste. That's fine.
my mind went to Marissa Tomei as Aunt May,
Hey, yo,
Fair. Fair. Marissa Tomei.
as Aunt May.
Atomic Hound,
Yeah.
hard traveling hound, checking in, hard traveling hound, checking in.
Thank you, brother. I hope the road is treating you well, my friend. Can't wait till you make it back to the kennel. And then MJ Looney, his super chat was finally able to go through, sent the £5 over. Hello, pals from across the pond. As a lifelong Superman fan, I'm happy that he is being enjoyed by mass audiences again. Keep up the great work. Thank you so much, MJ Looney. I completely agree with that sentiment. We are absolutely in the era of Superman. And it's books like this is the right time to read this comic book. Like, if you've read it before, do your reread, which a lot of you here have because of us right now. But if you've never read it, read this comic book because it just feels like so of the moment. Very much so. Now let's talk about Clark and Lex. This book, again, continues from the idea that they were friends in the past in Smallville. I do not like that relationship. I do not think it works. It worked in Smallville because that show had to do that. It had to be that. And we were never going to see anything after Smallville. So it didn't matter what they did on that show. But to me personally, even here, I think it's a problem where Lex and Superman's relationship, first of all, there's no way in my mind that Lex is not smart enough to figure out that Clark is Superman. And so that just was goofy to me.
And especially Lanil Yu's Clark.
Yeah.
It is the most Superman of the Clarks. Even though there's a whole almost issue where they're working on body language and, clothing.
What?
It's like, oh, you can't wear baggy, you can't wear tight clothing. You got to layer up. And I'm like,
Oh,
that guy is
Sorry.
at minimum linebacker.
no, was it that it was like too cheesy or you didn't buy it?
I didn't buy it because of multiple factors. Like like I can look past it. What Tyler just said, I can look past it when it comes to everybody else in the book. But Lex is just presented as being too smart for that.
Also, Alexa had known him as children.
That's the
It
problem.
doubles it down. Yeah.
That's the problem. He knew him as a kid. If he never knew him as a kid, sure. But if he knew him as a kid, I just don't believe he did it. When Clark started to die in front of him, and Lex is just like, for some bizarre reason, I thought that was a very weird scene. When Clark starts to die, and Lex just gets really bizarrely angry at him.
Yeah.
What the hell was that? He like,
You talk when they were kids.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. And also like not being able to see the same symptoms in Superman.
right.
Yeah.
That scene in particular took me out because I had to flip back through it. I had to like, wait, what was this moment? I don't understand the face that Lex inferred about that. Like that just looks like a kid who's about to throw up in his face. And was it at him? Like
Right.
I didn't get that.
That just didn't translate. I'm not sure if there was a like maybe Lanil you misunderstood the assignment in that moment or it was just conveyed improperly, but I just didn't understand that sequence at all. And I thought it really hurt what was otherwise, a solid beat. How do you guys feel about the Lex Clark relationship?
Overall, I really like Lex in this book.
Yeah.
Because it's Lex is all ego in my eyes, and that's what this is. The fact that there's someone bigger that's more super than him after all the work he's gone through and all the hardship he's gone through, he can't deal with it, and like he'll lie on purpose and like tell Superman, yeah, I'm fucking lying. These people are, yeah, like I don't care. I want them to not like you. That's all I care about. So I really like Lex. I don't like him knowing, like I don't like them being friends or even like schoolyard, classmates. I don't even like that. I think Lex, in my eyes, is a much better depiction of what the world is outside of Smallville. And so when he's already in there, I don't like that. I like Superman kind of being um, siloed to Smallville, and then once he leaves Smallville, it being almost culture shock for him.
Yep.
And Lex, in my eyes, is that personified. And you lose that when he also came from Smallville. It seems too coincidental.
But he's big money, big business, big power, the kind of thing that swallows up small country folk identity. Um,
You
he's the worst person you could run into as a young person coming from small town Kansas into the big city.
Yeah, and I think you could even still do Lex's origin, that he also came from a small town. And it's just a different direction that a small town, American can take. And I don't think it needs to be Smallville.
I liked it. I hear what your critiques on it, and I think they're valid. But I think Wade did enough of an explanation that I bought of, oh, he's so self-involved, his ego won't allow him to see past, who could possibly even exist outside of Smallville, and he gets so focused on things and hyperfixated that it only makes sense that he would keep both Superman and Clark Kent as different entities because he will fixate on those things. And I think it gave a bit of sympathy to um, to Lex because yes, it helped explain some of like why he's a dick, and I think that was necessary in contrast to Clark, where he has the love and support, and I don't think that that's too complicated. That feels a little basic, but it serviced the larger story and the larger characters for me. So I was able to kind of to buy it. But there definitely were instances like the aforementioned face and interaction there that lost me and was a little more difficult to swallow.
I agree that this characterization of Lex is phenomenal. Um, you can certainly feel it's another instance where you can see what James Gunn saw in this book and took for himself. And totally it's one of the I mean it's one for one almost this version of
Yeah.
Lex.
And the thing that jumped out to me too, Sean, now you're mentioning this, is that the suit never comes into play.
Lex, you mean Lex's suit?
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. It's just Lex's, but like willpower and brains, and his ability to connive and trick people, which is what the movie did. Sorry, Marco, you
Yep.
haven't seen it yet. I'll shut up.
It's all right. It's all right.
The
It's pertinent.
machinations, the scheming, the plotting, like I really like this. This book doesn't have and then like the primary antagonist isn't someone that Superman's just gonna punch in the face. There's more at play from that aspect, and I really like that. And adding in the detail of Lex being an abused person as a child, him experiencing neglect, experiencing abuse. We often don't think of somebody rich as someone who can also be traumatized. And Lex is that. And so Mark brings a humanity to the Lex Luthor character that I think often gets swallowed up by the massive ego and everything else. And how fun it probably is for writers to write this guy, that they don't always bring that aspect of him to the table.
And I also think giving him that backstory makes him more tragic too. Because you want to root for that kid, but you just can't.
Right.
He's
Because even like when his dad is dying, because of his invention that he has, and
yeah,
they said that, oh, they found his dad turned to ash. Um, he's still angry the whole time. He's never sad. It's
yeah.
just all anger. He's single minded, and it's it's why I like him so much, to be honest. But I can see why it makes him you not like him as a character.
It's the distinction in this book between uh, Lex's success being in spite as opposed to despite. And I like that that's the distinction that gets made, because you're right, he's just an angry, bitter person, and he will appear as not, but once you get him in a room, dude, he's gonna lay it on you. He's gonna run through the whole like master plan because he's a spiteful person.
I think of all the like primary antagonist characters that I can think of, Lex Luthor is the one portrayed as he's the one most driven by just straight up flaw. Like he's just a wreck of a man, but he's also a genius and has the self-confidence to do what he says he's going to do. But on the inside, he's wrecked. I really, really like that he's a character who can be equal parts. We know that vulnerable side of him, but also the menacing, egotistical side. He's a very interesting character. Becomes more layered the more takes I experience from really talented creators. Yeah. So the Lex and Clark stuff, Lex and Superman stuff, I think here is all great. Let's talk about Lois Lane. She in this book, I think, again, another character where you can see what James Gunn wanted to pluck out of this. It's not as though Lois is never portrayed as having agency or being, very very sure of herself and capable. The only thing that the only thing that this book does that I think might chafe some people is that a part of her story is how like attracted to Superman she is.
I I think that's fine. Like it's fair enough. Like I think it's that they're meant to be humans, and I don't think it's debilitating to the character. I don't think it becomes obsessive. They make a little comment here or there because sure, why not? He's a hunky guy. Like I don't think that that's an issue because it doesn't overshadow her tenacity, her energy. It doesn't. It she is in this case. She is a great journalist, despite the fact that she's in this world a woman, right? And so I think that that's comes out and comes across in the book. I personally really liked her, and I think the moment where she really was shining was where they lie to Clark and they say, "Oh yeah, dinner's wrapped up. We're just gonna head home." But they actually go to another bar and he's listening in, and she's there defending him. They're all kind of shitting on him, but he's still like, oh no, like he's a good guy. Like you don't know. She's able to put herself into somebody else's shoes, and I bet you that's also why she's a good journalist.
Yep.
And I also like how at the beginning of that situationship, I guess, but like when Perry first assigns Lois to Clark, um, and she just takes control every time she's in the scene. And like then like the whenever those two were together, specifically Clark and Lois, that's when I felt the most that this version of Clark felt like Clark Kent. You know what I mean? Because of how big Wade was able to write Lois. Even the way Laniel you drew her, she just kind of steals the page whenever she's on it. And I'm not even sure how to explain that. But like you're driven to her in it, and I thought that was really impressive.
She's supposed to have a magnetic personality
Yeah, for sure.
and a commanding presence. And I think that sometimes we don't get to see women characters in that position, so it's cool that that's always who Lois is, and that they put an emphasis point on that in this book. She's so comfortable in her space. Like, look at this. She's got her fucking feet up. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's comfort.
Her what?
Her feet up.
Oh, sorry.
Like she's doing her job. She's writing her article. She's killing it, but she got her feet up.
Big
Um,
chillin'.
yes, yes, I love that. What do you guys think about Clark's presentation here, just as an individual character? He's got a very practiced, bumbling nature to him. Um, and they made an emphasis of showing us that process, the process of how he learns to be the Clark Kent who would enter Metropolis. We see him be made fun of. We see him be uh, abandoned at the bar by his coworkers and mistreated in ways that I think, we've all experienced to some degree feeling alienated, but he's going for that. Like he wants
Mission
that, but it's
accomplished.
got to hurt. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's where the theme of like being a man of two worlds is throughout this book. And I think it's clear cut in the way Mom and Pa prepped him for this. It needed to be distinctly different. So nobody, even Lex, can figure out who he is. The one bit about Clark that I really enjoyed in this book was when Lex outs Superman as being an alien, and Clark is the one who has to write that story. I thought that was a good touch. They don't really like sure, Clark is kind of beaten up that he has to pretty much write the thing that makes the public go against him. But I thought it was just a really good beat that proved that like there is a journalistic integrity to Clark Kent that is separate from being Superman. Like this is Clark Kent's superpower. And I really like that bit of it.
Well, I think it's also that he has to maintain the facade.
Yeah.
And in order to do that, he can't be angry. He has to be detached from the work that he puts out. And so like there's the moment where they give him the assignment and he's just like, there's a defeat on his face that I think Lanu gets across. And that's why I really liked his art is I felt like you could feel the moments of each of these people and how they were reacting to these things that he does really well.
Yeah. You mentioned Laniel, and we've talked about moments and things like that, but let's dig in a little bit on the art front. I am a fan of Laniel Francis Yu. I have been since the moment I saw his work. I believe it would have been in the pages of New Avengers. Um, and I fell in love. This is not my favorite Laniel Yu.
You know what was taking me out? And it's not his art specifically. It's the gray. I don't know if this was a digital thing. I don't know if this is what it was like in the original print. But there's no white gutters. It's all gray. It's like that on the DC Infinite app, and it's like that in the compact version,
Yeah.
which is how I read this. both.
Oh,
Um,
interesting.
which I was the whole time I was like, why?
Gray and black, yeah.
And there's a lot of pages where I feel like there's a lot of white space or a lot of gray space. We'll just call it gray space for this, where it's like I felt like you could put another panel somewhere. Yeah, yeah. And there's a couple instances of that throughout this book. It feels like when Marvel tries to print their Infinite books.
You don't think it's like a newsprint kind of thing? You get the gray background.
It's like a it's like gray stuff though. It's like I don't even know how to describe it. It's different from the newsprint that is clearly in the book.
This page right here is a perfectly fine page from a composition standpoint. The
Sure.
panels you get, they're all good. For some reason, this gray right here changes the page to make it look more empty to me than it
Yes.
would if it were just white, and I don't
Mm.
understand that.
The white space, I don't think about it. The gray space, it jumps out to me, and then I see how empty some of these pages are. Like if like yeah, you're right. That page, Sean. The panel layout makes sense. There's no issue with storytelling there, but from like a graphic design sense, it feels uneven. It feels um weighted wrong on the page. Uh,
Yeah.
it, it was um it was taking me out a couple times.
I don't think like I think that he draws a good Superman. I think he draws an awesome
Yes.
Superman. There are multiple like panels and pages that feel like, hey, this is core Superman visuals. But then there are other times where I'm just like, I don't know, man. And some of the faces, the teeth, MX Mothman keeps bringing up how he had jump scares because of the teeth, and like I don't disagree. There are some really fucked up faces and teeth specifically in this book, and like hand stuff too. Like look at Clark's hands right here. They're like really like it's a really bizarre hand situation, and we all know what that could be in reference to, making fun of a person a certain way, but that's clearly not what Clark is doing. And there are multiple panels where people have their hands like that, and there's no reason for them to. So I don't know what was going on with that.
I I think the thing that stuck out to me about his art was the distinction between the background and the foregrounds. I think in the foregrounds, what he does is not over renders, but there's a lot more hatchings. There's a lot more like lines to define bits of shadow, whereas the backgrounds are a lot cleaner. They're sleek. They have straighter lines with less kind of busy work in between. And I think those are the things that maybe to provide a bit more of like a cartooniness. If you removed them, then I think the form would be more consistent. But because he adds all these lines and squiggles and stuff, it makes it feel a little dirtier, which I ended up liking. Like at the start, I was like, oh, this is kind of a lot, but it became kind of the style of the book. So I ended up not minding it. I hear you on like the teeth. That's a valid. But I think otherwise he's able to position characters in a way that you can feel empathy and you can feel what they're feeling. Anger, sadness, happiness, whatever it may be.
I will say I really loved his depiction of Krypton. Um, Leaning
Yeah.
into those weird Kryptonian costumes. I love Kryptonian fashion. When it's leaned into it like this is. Anytime Lex would bring up the images that he got through space and time somehow, which they don't really explain. Um, I just love the way it's depicted, and I like when Clark is reading his Krypton ebook. I think Mob Ken calls it an ebook at one point, which I was like, oh, that's dated. He was on the original Comixology app before it became Kindle. Um, I like the Krypton stuff. I want to see more of that, and I liked the tension there when the world was on the verge of destruction. I thought that looked good, even though yeah, there's still some teeth involved.
It's very regal, the fashion.
Yeah, it's futuristic, which I like.
For me, I've never seen Neil Francis Yu art that was less than good, and this is still within that range.
Agreed. And he's done like IP books, and it's still good.
Yeah. So I don't have any like large complaints about it, just certain things that I noticed, and I'm more of a fan of his later work, but this is good stuff. On the script side of things, I found this there were some times when I was like, I'm struggling to read this.
In what sense? Overly wordy?
Not overly wordy, but sometimes feeling like the script was a little stilted at times. Um, and I couldn't quite figure out the pace because it felt sometimes like it was all over the place because there's so many things that it's taking you through and showing you that there were times when I felt um like the pace was slightly off. I 12 issues is not a lot. Like in comparison, I read all 12 issues of the first two arcs of Ultimate Spider-Man in a night without missing a beat. Whereas this, I read over several days because I just couldn't get into a groove with it. I feel like the dialogue wasn't like as snappy and as like investing as I would like.
I found it to diminish in its flow. Like I was like the first, I would say first half of it I was going through. It was like a quick pace. But honestly, once we started getting to like Lex and like as much as I liked it, but like Lex getting into his weird machinations and all the Krypton stuff coming, that's when I started losing the flow of things. And then it kind of was like, oh, I feel like you're saying a lot to explain something I already understand.
Yeah. Um Overall though, we get at the end, we get this big fight with Superman and these like fake Kryptonian guys and all this craziness that Lex concocted. And Superman saves the day, and it all looks good and everything like that. It definitely didn't like I don't know that the end of this was so overwhelmingly exciting. Like it felt like, all right, it's time to do that super stuff. And that I wasn't as enthralled by. I think if we're making comparisons to the movie, it felt like the threat was a little more threatening. I don't know.
This was tame. I
Yeah,
don't think this was like universal ending. It's meant to put Superman in his place, because that's what Lex is trying to get at. He's trying to embarrass him. He's trying to uh, make him the enemy of the people, and so I think there's less stakes there. It's more
yeah.
personal than it is, oh my God, Metropolis is gonna be destroyed. Although that was part of the risk. Um, so yeah, I can see that. It definitely it ended on a high note for me still, but it wasn't like I wasn't clamoring to be like, oh my God, I have to see how this ends. It's like, oh, that was cool. That was that I got the point.
Yeah, Dan Trudeau in the chat says exactly what I was thinking. He says, I think this could have been 2 issues shorter and it would have helped the pace. It's a nitpick as I do enjoy it overall. Like, yeah, I did enjoy this book a lot. But I think it could have done without 1 or 2 issues just to kind of condense it a bit, make it a little more straightforward.
Then we wouldn't have gotten the scene where Jimmy's holding up the Superman sign. If you want to get to him, you gotta get through us.
It very much felt like a Spider-Man 1 moment where
Yeah,
if you mess with one of
Which
us, you mess with all of
this would have been
us.
after it too, like right
Yeah.
afterwards. Yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
I will say, at least they put Superman fighting robot spiders.
Yes, which is what do you know the origin of that? The
Yeah,
mandate?
it was a movie mandate, right? And then they called it back in the Flash with
Yeah,
Nicolas
they
Cage.
they were forcing Kevin Smith to write that into the Superman unproduced film that would have starred Nicolas Cage. Yeah.
Spiders?
Yeah,
Giant
that was
spider.
the big bad for Kevin Smith Superman. Had to be spiders.
What the hell?
The Nicolas Cage Superman, Marco, which
Oh,
is why he's fighting a giant spider at the end of Flash, which is the only thing I remember from the Flash.
And Mark Waid actually said that this giant spider inclusion was Lanneil's doing. That
Cool.
he knew about that, so he threw that in there.
Good. I mean, it looked good. It was a great double page for a
Yeah.
book which I felt like didn't have too many double page spreads throughout these 12 issues. He
Not
was
too many.
reserved. He was reserved for Lanneil Yu. I feel like Lanneil Yu likes a 2 page spread.
Yeah.
So it hit when it needed to hit.
Overall, I think this book is really good. Like I would hand this to any person. Like 12 issues pound for pound, I can't think of 12 issues I would hand a person and say this is Superman more than this. This is the definitive like here, this is Superman.
I think, I mean, I still haven't read All Star, so I can't speak to that. But yeah, I don't disagree, especially when it comes to origins for sure. Because handing Man of Steel, like I enjoyed Man of Steel a lot, uh, but it's not modern, and I don't think you could just throw that to somebody and be like, "Hey, this is have some fun with this," because a lot of it either doesn't matter or is completely different now. So I think in terms of modern representation, this is the book to go to with.
And a lot of other like there are Superman stories I like more than this. I love what Joshua Williamson's doing right now. I love what PKJ did, but you can't hand somebody 50 issues of a run and say, "Yeah, check it out." Like this is compact literally and it's short and it gets to the point. Speaking of the compact aspect,
I want to know your take on that.
yeah, I did not love reading it this way.
It works better for certain books, but there are some pages in this book that are chock full of word balloons that
Yes.
I don't
Oh,
think it benefited in compact. I still would prefer compact, especially because I like, if I'm reading on the go or something. Um, but some of those pages don't work well in this. If only we can cut out some of that gray space and fill out the page a little more.
This is the second or third book I've read in compact, and I never felt it before this.
Gotcha. Okay, interesting.
interesting. Yeah, so it was only legibility that was the issue.
I felt like some of the art was not scrunched, but like tight. Like I would have liked to have seen these pages larger to get the full expression of the art.
Lanil Yu is a real widescreen, you know, cinematic type artist too. So you're really that's like watching watching Interstellar on your iPod, video, just how Christopher Nolan would have intended. Um, so I
Yeah,
think it probably loses a bit.
I think also there's a lot of now that you're saying that there's a lot of perspective where the shot is farther away, and so even the drawing itself is like instead of an eye, you have like a squiggly line to define the eye. So I can imagine that pulling that even farther away is difficult.
On the level of recommendation, where do you guys land with this?
Easy recommendation, especially if you're jonesing for more Superman after the film. I think I think it was actually cool reading this after seeing the movie because there was a bit of like, oh, I see where Gunn kind of maybe pulled something from, or it might have influenced him somewhere. So it was kind of like a supplemental reading experience in a way, which I would definitely recommend.
Yeah, this definitely feels like this feels a more accessible baby's first Superman than like All Star. This is full of heart. It's character work. It doesn't lean into the knowledge of history. It tries to rewrite some of that history, if anything. And so I would recommend this as like I always think about would I give this book to my brother? This is a book I'd hand my brother and be like, hey, you want to get like a little bit of history? He'd probably come back and be like, yeah, that was right. But I think it's a good foundation.
I don't know, man. I can't even imagine handing someone who doesn't like love this shit All-Star Superman. Not saying nothing about the quality. Obviously, it's great, but like it doesn't feel like, oh yeah, hand this to a new person, you know?
Some people do, man.
Yeah,
What
for
All
sure.
Star you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I think that's a lot of people's like first recommendation on it's when it comes to Superman. I mean, I
yeah.
think I think from what I know about the book, it seems like a pretty good synthesis of who Superman is, but it's super referencey to like some Silver Age shit.
Very much so.
It feels like the end.
Okay.
It just feels like, yeah, I don't know. It just feels like the end. Yeah, I think everybody who's interested in Superman should read this for sure. Um, I am not the most well-read Superman fan. I am more a more recent fan of Superman. I still haven't read Jeff Johns' stuff. I read a little bit of it, but I haven't read Secret Origin. So I got to get through that, get into that. Um, this is, again, one of the better Superman stories that I have read, and everybody should check it out.
Yeah, for sure.
Once again, the patrons, you guys did a great job. This was an awesome selection. Thank you guys for voting for it. Every single month, we have a theme for the channel. And the theme this month was Superman, of course, tying into the movie. And so the way it worked was we asked you to nominate your favorite Superman story, and then we put it over to the final four, which our patrons voted on. And again, this is the story they chose. Thank you all so much. In a few minutes, we're going to tell you about the next month theme. But before we get into that, I do want to read some comments. You guys have been active all night. Thank you so much for joining us and listening to this conversation and applying your thoughts to it. Let's read through some of the comments before we talk about next month.
Dan Trudeau commenting on the compact. I thought All Star Superman was fine in compact. The full page size is better, but I don't think it made for a bad reading experience. Yeah, I think they deliver. I think they deliver in different doses, and so this is one of those instances where maybe some additional steps were needed to kind of be cognizant of the format and how you're changing it from a larger to that smaller.
I mean, I think though one of the things about the compact is that makes it super easy to make is that they're not really thinking about it. They're just printing it smaller.
Sure.
Like Joseph Wolf here says, try Watchmen in compact. I don't think that'll be as bad as you think. Watchmen is never crazy with their word balloons in terms of like taking up the art. Like it kind of fits with the art. But that's not 9-panel grid. How small are each panel? Okay, all right. Now that I'm convincing myself otherwise.
The Black Freighter, like those script
yeah.
pages and stuff. I can see maybe somebody struggling a bit.
But is it the reading experience? Does it benefit from just being like in your pocket? I got some baggy ass cargo pants that I can fit one of these in my pocket. Is that a compact? Is that a compact comic in your pocket, or are you just happy to see me?
Roger Hernandez. Yeah, All Star was my first Superman book, and unfortunately, it really wasn't for me. I'm waiting to reread it once I am a much more well-read Superman fan. Yeah, I can see that for sure.
Roger, I'm actually kind of curious. Did it turn you off on Superman?
I want to read All Star again now that I've read a little bit more Superman to see where I land with it. I enjoyed it a lot, but I feel like I could enjoy it even more.
I'd like to see a compact version of Warworld.
How? I think that's mad long.
I mean, how many issues is it? We've had some compacts that are pretty beefy.
That's have there been any compacts plus? More than 12? Warworld was long. Yeah, it would need to be. It definitely need to be more than one compact.
Okay, but I just like Warworld. I mean, that's Superman fighting oppression again, and siding with the oppressed. Yeah, which I really enjoy.
Hayden's Hideout. Does this make it onto any of your top 10 Superman book lists? Yes.
My gut says yes. I'd have to really do a inventory on that. Because Superman books could be an issue, you know?
Well, sure.
Yeah, I struggle with the idea that there are 10 Superman stories better than this.
Sure. Yeah. Where it ranks, I think, is more the question for me.
Dan Trudeau again for Modern Origins. It's between this and John's Secret Origins. I think this book is a bit better than John's. They did that. There was a community book club that I believe did Secret Origins for Jeff Johns stuff. That was I read the first issue of it. That started out very strong. Another place to go for anybody who's interested.
Up in the Sky compact. That would be cool because I haven't read Up in the Sky. I'm looking for a reason. I actually thought there was a chance it could win the poll. It didn't, but I still want to check it out.
That's a fun one. That's Kubert and King, right?
Definitely King.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny because Anir is asking, is there a Superman for All Seasons compact? No, sorta. They're coming out with one in Europe for Panini Press. I don't know when they're going to come out with it in the US in like a English version. And they're also doing Batman Universe at Panini Press, which is the Batman Walmart comic. So I got to imagine Up in the Sky is coming eventually. They're really putting those out at a fast clip, though.
as they should. Dan Trudeau, what Superman origin stories have the pals read, and how does this rank?
For me, it's Man of Steel, it's New 52, and it's this, and then all of the movies and cartoons.
Same, and I like this more than the other ones.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's my favorite in print Superman origin. Yeah.
Yeah, so far, right?
Yeah, yeah, that I've read to this point. New
Uh,
52 was like I didn't even know what that was. Like
the Near says, referring to that device that Clark had, Clark on the Krypton Kindle. Yeah, it really was, dude. That was cool. The little tablet, and he's just like, I don't know what any of this is.
No, nobody questioned it either. They're like, "Oh, you got some fancy doodad on you." And
Yeah.
meanwhile, he's looking at a different race entirely.
Dan Trudeau brings up, I agree with this point, one of the best parts of the book. He brings up I lost the comment, but he brings up the last page where Clark tells his parents he made it, where there was the way for him
Yes.
to send a message back through, and he lets them know that he made it. That was a stroke of brilliance. The book begins with his parents wondering if he would make it, if they would succeed, and he is able to let his parents know in the end, I'm okay, I made it. And yeah, none of us are aliens with parents on another planet, but all of us are children whose parents are hoping that we will make it. And hopefully our parents live long enough for them to see us make it. His did it. He was able to send a message back to the past to let them know. That moment hit me hard.
Also, just a great bookend thematically for the book. It ties up the very beginning sequence.
Yep,
Her faith was answered. Love it.
exactly. Yeah, awesome, awesome ending. Absolute Overthinker says Up in the Sky equals Sorrow Lantern Superman.
It's not that emo.
Isn't that story just about like Superman going through those trials to rescue a kid?
Essentially, yeah. He starts boxing at one point, which is good.
Right.
And it's Kubert. Kubert draws a mean Superman.
Oh, Roger Hernandez replied to your question, Tyler, with regards to if that turned him off to Superman reading All Star. Low key, a little bit. It was one of my first comics in general, and generally, I didn't like reading Superman again until World's Finest. Damn.
Yeah, I mean, Morrison in general is tricky jumping right in. That's how I jumped in for Batman. Morrison's Batman was my first. Um, so I can see that turning you off, especially Quietly Art too. Like I don't think Quietly Art is everyone's cup of tea as soon as you get into comics. Uh, it's a little dirty, a little gross,
So squiggly.
a little squiggly. Everyone's got weird eyes and long foreheads.
Love it.
There is no Grant Morrison comic that I would hand to a new reader and say, hey, start here for any character, not Superman, Batman, X-Men, none of them. I just think that you need to be a little bit more initiated
I would say the
before
only
you
one I
tackle them.
would recommend would be New X Men. I think that's the most accessible because it was kind of a reinvention.
Oh. Um, Maybe. I just think that it's got the art, it's got the quietly
Yeah,
art, which turns people off. It's got some really bizarre shit that happens. I think when people come into the X-Men not knowing anything, they're really looking for traditional X-Men story. I would hand them Joss Whedon's Astonishing before I would hand them.
fair, fair. You don't want them to see Beak getting beat with a bat. Ooh, that was a hard thing to say. Try that saying that 5 times fast. I would love to do an all new X Men book club.
All new X-Men?
New
Sorry.
X Men.
Yeah. The
Oh, yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah.
It's like how long is that?
It's an omnibus. That's all I know.
Pretty
It's
long.
about this thick.
It's the first omnibus I ever got.
And all of it's Grant?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah,
I mean, it's excellent. It's so good.
excellent. Come on, Sean.
I did not intend to do that.
Come on.
It's not how
My
my
first
mind
omnibus
works.
was Peter Milligan's Ecstatics, actually.
My first omnibus is pending purchase.
Really? Huh.
Think so.
Wow. That's great. Well, no, I believe that.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah, I believe that.
You're more of a deluxe guy, right? Or
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Actually, yeah.
Mhm. Let's see.
Oh, this.
Lucas Heatwave says this and Williamson, since All In is my only Superman I've read, plus the weekly Action Comics a few months ago, 7 out of 10. Better than Action, but Mora and Matt are killing it
Yeah, yeah, they are.
for sure.
Phenomenal AC here says, I'm known at work as the comic nerd. I've had so many coworkers come up to me and ask me for recommendations since the movie hit. Love it.
Awesome.
Love to see it.
Let's go.
Good to hear that.
Tell him the Comics Pal sent you.
Tell Marge sent me.
David Melendez Doria says we have to crowdfund Marco getting Absolute Swamp Thing for his first Omni. It's a good idea.
That
Yo.
would be good.
Good
Wait,
idea.
wait.
But
I
an
think that
absolute
had.
book is a different thing than an omnibus.
Well,
That's true.
size wise.
An absolute is like a trade, but it's just like you get the most detailed version of that trade.
It depends.
Yeah,
It depends because I have Absolute Swamp Thing. I have absolute Sandman. I think I have absolute Swamp Thing, and they're tomes. They're
yeah,
fucking massive. They're
yeah. They're
like an
huge. Hold
omnibus in
on.
terms of content.
It's the first like half because I just pulled it up. It's the Saga of the Swamp Thing 20 to 34. So it's probably like two or three times the normal size plus Swamp Thing Annual #2.
Right. Yeah, those things are huge.
Yeah,
But
this
but
is
I
the one I have,
oh that's
and
That's
it's like
nice.
look at it
nice.
compared to I don't know this other book. This is a smut book I have. Oh no, sorry, it's called Kirby.
Nice.
But like just in terms of size, it is big. But like this is only volume one, you know. But it's great if you want art. Like if you have like an artist specific book that you um, like reading this in
It's
this
beautiful.
wide format, so good.
But Sean, that absolute Swamp Thing is that's it's recolored. They redid all of the colors.
Right. Yeah, and I'm not a fan really of the recoloring thing. It's tough because I get why they do it, but at the same time it feels kind of was it the same artist who did the recoloring or was it a separate colorist?
Totally separate.
I hate when they
And
do that.
Yeah,
totally different palette. Like it totally transforms it.
I can't get behind that. There were artistic decisions that were made. You cannot possibly bring on somebody else to just do the colors differently. Like you don't know why they made those choices.
And I feel like it's always that like late 80s like
Yes.
Vertigo era where I don't know what their the way they kept original art was like or something, but like I don't like the way it's been recolored at all. Like even Sandman, it's a little
Yep.
ugly.
I didn't realize for years I'd only ever read the updated color version of Swamp Thing
Yeah.
because they'd been doing it in the individual trades as well. They like you miss out on the funky purples, the funky greens and
Hmm.
yellows and oranges. It's all like, oh, this is all when they redid like what was it? The oh my god, Batman and Joker.
Killing Joke?
Yes,
Yeah.
Brian Boland and all that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I feel like they lose shade.
Yeah,
It becomes like color by numbers and you lose nuance and shade and gradation.
Charlotte, Little Miss Marvel says, I don't have a ton of Omnis. Age of Apocalypse was the
Ooh,
first. That's a way to get started on your omnibus collection.
that's a weapon.
Word. Forget the quality. If you've got a home intruder and you want to protect your family, Age of Apocalypse will get that thing done. I think that is a perfect way to promote omnibus
Yeah.
sales. Why not?
Omni
Doubles as a weapon.
Omnibuy Omnibuy can be used by Kevin McAllister in Home Alone. Like that's
Yes.
where I would view it.
And that is definitely how I would use that particular omnibus. Would I read it? Probably not. But I would definitely assault someone with it if
Yeah.
they broke into my home.
Imagine getting your ass kicked by AOA Sabretooth page, you know?
Dude, I'm not allowed to buy brass knuckles for my own protection, but that's okay because New York City, you don't understand that I can get an omnibus that's legal to buy,
Yeah.
but deadlier.
Imagine shoving that into an extra large sock.
It's gonna collapse, break.
Well, you gotta get a strong sock.
Yeah.
Leave that Omni down like a bear trap. You'd catch me, that's for sure.
Wow, Roger Hernandez says I got all three absolute Swamp Thing. Damn, boy,
Beast.
tie those together.
Beast. That's
Oh,
what's
that's
up,
true.
man.
Yeah, Dan says you can use it for attack and defense. It can stop a knife and maybe a small caliber firearm. It definitely probably could stop a bullet if it hits directly.
I guarantee you that it would stop the fucking bullet.
With your comics bucks, we will be starting Comic Mythbusters,
Right? We
where
should
Marco
definitely.
will be standing with an omnibus.
I'm sure we can get access to a gun and we can
Uh,
just shoot at
yeah.
Marco and aim for the chest. I mean, listen, are you a marksman, Tyler? Because I'm not. We could just
I am.
shoot. Okay, fine.
Yeah.
So you could shoot at him and aim for the chest, and hopefully he lives, and the omnibus will eat the bullet, and we'll have
Kind
make
of,
content.
I have complete faith.
Kind of sus that the comic book sheriff, not a marksman.
Listen,
Doesn't need to
bro.
be. He
We need
just
to get
wrangles
you.
the people
Yeah,
up.
He's a
don't need-
lassoer. Got it.
Right.
yeah, don't need to be. But I can wield an omnibus with the best of them. Obviously, that would be my weapon of choice. Roger says, "I wish I had that bread, my boy." I understand it, man. This hobby is not for the well, it's not for most of us, quite
Yeah.
frankly.
I
From a
just always say
financial,
in stock trades, in stock trades.
there you go. Cheap graphic novels, cheap graphic novels. All right, let's talk about August.
Ooh.
It's no secret that in August we've already dubbed it Ultimate August. We are going all in on the Ultimate Universe. We are going to have an Ultimate Universe deep dive. We've told you that the 4 Saturdays of August will be dominated by the Ultimate Universe and us talking about the past, talking about the books that came out, talking about the decisions that were made. I know so much more now today than I did even last week about the Ultimate Universe. So we're very excited to share all of that with you. But a part of that, of course, the way we involve you guys is through the book club. So we are going to be doing our very first Ultimate Universe book club. And we want you guys to nominate your favorite Ultimate titles so that we can figure out which one you want us to read, take the top 4 nominated books, put them in a poll over on the Patreon page, and any member of our Patreon can cast their vote and determine the winning book that we will be right back here at the end of August. That would be, what is the last Tuesday of August? That is the 26th. We will be here on August 26th to talk about the winning book. Hopefully, you guys will all show up.
Something smells like Ultimate Spider-Man possibly winning this.
I mean,
It's either that or the exact opposite, which would be Ultimatum.
Oof.
you know what? I don't care what wins because I'm reading all of that anyway.
That's true. Yeah.
There's probably nothing that could win this poll that I won't have read.
There's your challenge, listeners.
Oh, God.
It's a major deathbed. You're gonna have to read like Ultimate Squadron Supreme or some shit like that.
That sounds fun.
Yeah.
I feel like we were getting recommended to read that.
Oh, maybe. Okay. Yeah.
Uncanny Suit says Sean just wants to read Ultimate Spider-Man. I do just want to read Ultimate Spider-Man, but I'll tell you, Ultimate X-Men, not always good, always interesting.
I like that.
Okay.
Yeah. Like even the people who you think like Brian K. Vaughan, like you would think, oh, come on, it's Brian K. Vaughan.
He's a little hit or miss, honestly.
Really? The
Whoa.
goat?
Whoa. What's the miss? Other than I don't know if you've read this or not, but like what are the misses in your mind?
I'm trying to think, and then I'm having trouble. And I'm like, wait, no, that was good. I know that was good too. The Hood, no, that was good. Runaways, also good. Damn it.
Yeah.
I'm debunking myself as I think about it.
Dude,
Yeah, I
his
was
swamp,
like, go ahead.
his Swamp Thing, good.
I don't think I've ever read anything by him that was bad, but Ultimate X-Men is definitely testing that. But it is interesting. Definitely take a look at a picture of Ultimate Sinister. That you
Oh,
should definitely
hold
do
on.
because it's not what you expect. Roger Hernandez, nothing could get me to read Ultimatum again. The first book I thought was fully ass.
Yo, Mr.
Fully
Sinister
ass.
got the ripped body, and he looks like Tattoo Man.
Yep.
Yo, what? My dude's yoked.
Bizarre.
He's yoked.
You got the
Jeez.
Scully.
You got the Scully, the goatee.
He really
Yep.
does. Wait, holy shit.
Why is there one panel of him with just a dead rat? What is going on in this book?
It's a really bizarre story.
Do you like this
What's
What?
version
up?
of Sinister than mainline?
God fucking no. This version of Sinister is so weird. We're gonna talk more about it on Saturday, but I could not get behind it. Again,
What?
interesting, not good.
Oh,
Where do
he's the
you?
one that shoved Charles down the stairs. That's the image
Yes,
I've seen this
yes,
whole time. I
Wait,
didn't
no,
know that was him.
what?
yep.
Where do
Man,
you land on the current Ultimate Universe if they introduce Ultimate Sinister?
It would probably be dog shit.
I don't know. Peach can do something interesting.
Uh, Maybe. Atomic Count says, "Can I nominate All Star Batman and Robin for Ultimate Book Club?"
Nice try.
Someone at some point suggested a book club based around books that aren't good,
Yeah.
and it's like, sure, we could do that, but do people want to see it? Like, are people going to watch that?
You're not gonna like it.
Right? Hayden's Hideout
Ooh.
with a 5 spot. Thank you so much, man. If you enjoyed the conversation, consider joining the Discord for community book clubs. The Modern Book Club is reading Hellblazer Dead in America. So a lot of people listening may not know that the book club concept extends beyond the show.
Yeah.
Our listeners do their own book club that is not run by us. We're not even necessarily there for it. It's all on their time and dime and everything else. And they do great stuff. Hayden is one of the people that hosts them. He's excellent. So join our Discord and check that stuff out. It's a lot of fun. Roger, isn't he that already technically the dude who leads the cult in Peach's Ultimate X-Men? I wouldn't know. I am not reading that book. I have not read that book since issue 7. So I don't know anything that's happening.
No, that's
It's the Shadow King, isn't it?
yeah, or the guy. No, the Shadow Kid's the kid,
It's the
but it's
kid.
the I'm forgetting his name, dude. It's not
I
though. It's
forget
different
too, yeah.
people.
Lucas says, didn't we read use recently that if that wins, we can pick up instead? Whoa, dude, that sentence.
Have you ever been so much that you could have a dream that you've been
You guys ever
Yes.
heard this one? When she nut, but keep suck, but keep suck, keep nut. You guys ever see that one?
No.
Yeah, try to have. What's
Uncanny
the other one?
suit.
Like you ever been so far as to of like
Yes,
yeah.
yes, yep.
Yeah, Uncanny Suit says Invasion Book Club is the only time you guys hate read for a book club.
I wouldn't say we hated it.
I hated it.
Okay.
Just wasn't great.
Yeah,
X
I
of
could not.
Swords book club. Oof. You couldn't even type it right. It was like that. That's just a. He was trying to get past our censors here.
I think something is wrong with Lucas's fucking keyboard because an X of Swords book club. I mean I would read Ten of Swords again. It has Saturnine in it in all her glory,
Okay.
all her 6 foot plus tall glory. And Apocalypse is cool as shit in that book.
Yeah.
There is a handful of really good issues and moments that I like in that. So
That whole era of Excalibur was really good and kind of like it's a little separate from Krakoa, but I think it's really good.
yeah. All right, couple more questions and we'll get out of here. Joseph Wolf, have y'all ever done a book club with Priest's Black
No.
Panther? We have not.
What about doing
And
a like a black writers or like a black creators themed
Black
book club?
Month, it's not February, so
Why they give you guys the shortest month?
did you have to ask? Yeah, we're not allowed contractually to put that much focus on Black people until February. So
Jeez.
we'll talk about it later.
I didn't say it.
Yo, he said I signed that paper.
Oh shit. In all seriousness though, Joseph, I'd be down for that, I guess, but I'm a
Yeah.
little trepidatious now that I'm reading The World to Come, which I don't really
Man.
like the presentation of.
I recommend Priest Deathstroke, Sean. I think that might get you back on the Priest train.
Yeah, I read some of that. It was all right. I haven't read anything by Priest that I have loved.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
Lucas
two.
is in the two margaritas. All right.
All
Give him
right.
two margaritas and he'll open his legs. You know that song?
All, all is understood, Lucas.
Hell yeah.
Damn, bro. No
Spicy
invite?
margs? What are we doing? Cucumber margs? Watermelon margs? What do we got?
Tyler, you're prolific. I don't know the word. I'm forgetting
How
the
many
word.
Prolific.
margaritas did you have?
No, no, no. Proclivity
Oh,
for
there you
tiki bars is unmatched.
Oh, I went to one on Friday. Great one
I
on
know.
yeah, oh, you should check it out. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Shit. Something
Is that
Paradise?
is that not the one we went for your birthday?
No, no. This is like a themed one. You should check this. It's on Lower East Side, like in the St. Mark's area.
Okay.
Paradise Lost. That's what it's called.
Tiki
Pricey,
bar.
but good and boozy.
Nice.
And there's a demon that talks to you in the bathroom.
For
go.
how many drinks?
I only have one.
Oh shit.
Uncanny Suit with the 199. Where is Zatanna a month? I'm waiting. There's not even 4 Zatanna books that we can do.
Yeah, like what would it even
You
do?
got Paul Dini's, you got the current run, you got Marco Tamaki's one that won an Eisner. And then there's probably another somewhere.
I don't know, dude. I don't think your wish is gonna come true anytime soon, my friend. But we are going to get out of here. We are going to call it a night. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. Hit that like button before you go. Do not forget, the next time we will be live with you is this Thursday for Pals Pulls with a new start time of 8 p.m. Eastern. Hope to see you guys there for that. And then Ultimate August officially kicks off this Saturday with the Ultimate Deep Dive. We're going to be talking about Ultimate Spider-Man and the origins of the Ultimate Universe. So make sure you guys show up. I want the biggest groundswell of support possible for this Ultimate August, which includes you. So thank you so much for listening. See you Saturday. Until then, take care.